Rick Rackley. And he gave me some encouraging words. He said, you know what? You're going to think you're going to do fine, and then you're going to lose it. Thank you for those encouraging words, Ricky. All right. But he's done this a few times, so he knows how things go. So it is my last sermon before marrying Caroline. And Brother Robert will preach next Sunday for me in my absence. And so hope you'll come and be a part of that. It is also my last sermon today. There won't be another sermon this evening, not yet. We're working on that. But it is the last sermon that I will preach today for the day for sure. And, you know, I've told you before, a pastor's only as good as his last sermon. So the book's still out on that. Y'all will have to decide on that once this one is over. You know, in all seriousness, last words are usually lasting words. And you think about in Scripture, that happens over and over again in the different epistles and the prophets. Some of their last words were the important words and the lasting words that you and I remember. And so I would say this about this sermon. If this were my last sermon to the church, it would probably be something like it's going to be. It would be about this topic. Because, and this is not an Easter sermon. We had our Easter time out in the park, so this is not really just for Easter. This is a sermon that is for all times, including Easter. And I think you'll understand what I mean as we get into it. And it is based on the passage that Brother Robert read to you. But let me tell you, this sermon has taken on a little bit more significance for me. And if I get emotional while trying to preach the sermon, it's because of this reason. I'm just getting ready for the wedding this weekend. But since I lost my mom and my dad in the last 2 years, this sermon has taken on more special significance and importance. And I hope it will be that for you as well. Some people say that life is short and that you need to keep short accounts with God. And I would agree with that. But I think also we need to keep short accounts with each other. And it is very important for you and I to realize and remember today that what you and I think we're going to have and how long we think we're going to have it may not be anywhere close to what God's plan is for all of us. Here, a while back, I received a book that's called If Only I Knew. And this book is written by a gentleman, Lance Wubbles. And the subtitle is Gentle Reminders to Help You Treasure the People in Your Life. And I read it a few years ago when I received it. And as I read it and read the pages, I just wept from one page to the next. And in preparing for this sermon today, I read it over. And as I read the different pages, I wept again, thinking about the importance of this subject. Folks, we don't know. In fact, the book is dedicated to a good friend of Lance Wubbles who had a 14-year-old son who got a new yellow bike, and he went out the door and riding to his soccer practice as he had done many, many times, over and over again, same route, same bike, same soccer team, only to be broadsided in one of the intersections by a 16-year-old kid driving who was not paying attention and did not realize what had happened until Spencer, this boy, hit the windshield. And you cannot imagine the pain and the grief from that call to that mother saying, your boy's life is lost. It's over. his life, his name was Spencer, vanished like a mist, like a vapor, doing what he had always done. And this book is dedicated, and if you get the book, which I hope you will, you'll read the story, the full story of how that happened here in the very front of it, to this boy Spencer and to his mother and to the pain and the grief that she experienced. You see, folks, we don't know. None of us are guaranteed what will happen even this afternoon on Easter. We're not guaranteed that we're going to have the rest of this day. We're not guaranteed when we leave home that we'll make it back to see our loved ones. We're not guaranteed when we go to sleep at night with our loved ones in the bed beside us that that loved one will wake up in the morning with us. None of us are guaranteed any of those things. And the book is entitled, If Only I Knew What Might Have Happened, or what was fixing to happen. I can't imagine the pain and the emptiness that that mother must have felt, losing a son or a parent losing a daughter. We live in a very uncertain world. When we leave home, we assume we'll return in the evening. When we say goodbye to loved ones, we assume that we'll see it, and we take it for granted that we'll see them again very soon. We presume that they know that we love them, and so we seldom say the words. But the truth is, folks, on Easter or any other Sunday or day of the week, tomorrow does not always come. And so today is just a very simple sermon with 3 very specific points based on this attitude, based on this idea that you and I cannot afford to take one moment, one day, one Easter, one luncheon together, one experience of walking together out in the park or out getting some exercise together. We cannot afford to take for granted even one of those moments. And as I think back and I look back on the life of my dad, who we lost in July of 2019, and my mom in March of 2020, I think about, boy, I wish I could hear them one more time. I wish I could call them and ask them a question about our church one more time. I wish I could have known my brother's little boy, his first boy, James Franklin, who we lost shortly. He was stillborn and never had a chance to talk to him. I wish that I could say some things to my mom, appreciation and love to her, one more time. I wish I had recorded my dad's voicemail message that he left me, so I could play that voicemail message and hear his voice just one more time. And so, folks, today's message is one that you and I need to take very seriously. And the first point I want you to think about of the 3 points is this: if only I knew that I should have cherished my loved ones' words and hugs. If only I would have known. We never know when life is going to dramatically change, and it can change in an instant. And you get that phone call that you never wanted to get, and life can dramatically change in a moment, and sometimes, folks, permanently. So I wish that I had cherished the words and the hugs of my loved ones more. I wish I hadn't taken it for granted. If only I knew I would never have your voice, never hear your voice again. I would cherish your every word, every inflection of your voice with all my heart. If only I knew this was going to be our last hug on Easter Sunday, I would have held you tight and hoped to never let you go. Some of you wonder, why is it that the preacher always has such a need to hug? Why is it that the moment we come in, doesn't he know we're not comfortable with that yet? Why is it that he's always wanting to hug us? Folks, we never know if that hug might be our last one. When I was pastoring up in Arkansas, in Camden, we lost our church secretary. She took her own life. She planned it out. She planned it when she was going to do it. She planned it where she was going to do it. And she planned how she was going to do it. And we had no idea. We had no idea Shelley Passafume was hurting like she was. She covered it well at church. She did her job well as a church secretary. She was a friend. She was a co-worker. She was a confidant. And you know what? I remember the last hug that I gave Shelley Passafume. We were all shocked. We were stunned that she had planned it out. Time, place, and method. Nobody knew that it was fixing to happen. She drove to the area in North Arkansas, pretty area. She had scouted it out. She got the room in the little cottages. She locked the door, and she took care of her business. Never had a chance to say one word to her kids or to Shelley Passafume again. I remember the last hug of a gentleman, Everett Faulkner, in Camden, Arkansas. A fine, godly man, an older man, one of those guys that can be a mentor for you. And boy, you just hang on their words and you want to hear what they say. They don't say a whole lot. They don't speak all the time. But boy, when they speak, you want to hear them. And I can remember the last hug that I gave Everett Faulkner. I can remember the last hug that I gave my grandmother Moore, 102 years old, just short of 103, and had the chance to hug her. And I can remember that hug. Folks, all of us can have regrets. All of us can face things that we wish we could have said and we wish we could say now. Don't leave those things unsaid. Don't leave those things undone. Tell your family, tell your friends you love them. Tell your parents if you still have your parents with you, alive. Make sure you call them. Make sure you tell them how much they mean to you. A gentleman named Tom Malone was interviewed about being a football player. He's a CEO or a head bigwig of a company. And so they were talking to Tom Malone about playing football. Tom Malone was a guy who was 150 pounds. Now, that's not much. And he says, I wasn't very big at football, and I wasn't very good at football. So what happened as a result is every time he played football, he broke something. So he said, I wasn't very good. I got hurt a lot. I broke my arm once. I broke my neck once. I broke my nose 6 times. And he's going around telling everybody about his experience of playing football. And when he goes over all the things he broke, they ask him, why did you keep playing? You weren't very big. You weren't very strong. You weren't cut out for football. Why did you keep doing it? And Tom Malone said this, one day it hit me. If there hadn't been any fans in the stands cheering me on, my family and friends, I wouldn't have kept on playing and trying so hard. But there were, so I did. Which brings us to the second point. Folks, be a fan to someone. Find somebody that you think could use an attaboy or a little encouragement, and you be their encourager. You be their fan. You may not know it, but you're somebody's hero. Cheer for someone. Find somebody that needs a word of encouragement right now, today, Easter 2021. Man, it's been a tough year this last year. We've been through so much. But you know what? One thing I'm going to do on Easter 2021 is I'm going to say and decide, I'm going to find somebody that needs someone to back them up. And I'm going to tell them, and I'm going to tell them every time I see them, I believe in you. I'm going to be your fan. You may not have a lot of other people behind you that think you can do it, but I'm going to stand behind you and support you. And I'm going to say to you today, and every time I see you from now on, you can do it. You can make it. You can be faithful. You can be successful. God will bless you. You are someone's hero, and you can become their greatest fan. There's some adults in our church that need a fan right now. Some adults that are going through things, and it's crushing them. And some of those, when you look at them and you ask them and you say, how are you doing today? They'll look down or they'll say, oh, I'm fine. But boy, deep down inside, you're looking at their face and you're saying, I know they're not fine. I know they're hurting. It may be somebody at church. It may be somebody at work for you. It may be someone else that you know of in your extended family. But you could say once and for all, I want to be his encourager. I want to be her encourager. Do you remember who was the greatest persecutor of the church before he met God on the road to Damascus? You remember who that was? Saul. Do you remember after God got a hold of Paul's heart, do you remember that he became one of the greatest church planners and one of the greatest men and apostles for his missionary travels, had 3 missionary journeys? How is it that Paul could cross over from being the greatest persecutor and the greatest threat to the church and Christians, and then to become the greatest church planner and get those church folks to accept him? Do you know how it happened? Let me tell you how it happened. Everybody that heard that Saul wanted to go to the church and see the church said, oh, no, we don't want to see Saul. We don't want to be around Saul. We know what kind of man Saul is. And you know who got behind Saul? Barnabas. And Barnabas said, Paul, I'll take you to the church in Jerusalem. I'll take you to the church in Philippi. I'll take you to the church in Thessalonica. I'll be your advocate, and I'll let them know you're not the different guy and you've changed, and I'll cheer for you and be your fan. And if it hadn't been for Barnabas doing that, Paul might have never been the greatest church planner that you have ever known. Barnabas became his fan. I can think of a friend of mine over in Corpus Christi, and boy, for you or me to look at his life, you would say, that guy has a tough time. That guy can't get ahead. That guy takes 1 or 2 steps forward, and before you know it, he's taken 1 or 2 steps back. And he's quite a bit younger than me and younger than many of you. And you know what I've decided? Every time I talk to that guy who's my friend, I'm going to be his fan. I'm going to try to encourage him. I'm going to try to tell him, Mike, you can do it. Mike, I know you're having a tough day, but you can do it. Mike, I know you've got a difficult situation and one of your legs is paralyzed and you have no feeling in it, but you can do it. Mike, I'm so proud of you, man. You're a godly husband. And you're a God-fearing father of your kids, and you go actively to Second Baptist Church. And Mike, I'm so proud of you, man, and I'm going to be behind you, and I'm going to be your fan, and I'm going to encourage you and support you. There are adults that need that. There are students in our church that need that right now. Some of them could be here. They just need somebody to be a fan of theirs and to be their encourager. There are people in our church that need that, and you could be the person that makes the difference. Football teams aren't the only ones who need cheerleaders. Everyone does at some point in life. So please, Make a commitment on Easter 2021. I'm going to make some changes. I'm going to become the fan of somebody else. I'm going to make a commitment no matter what they're going through, and I'm going to be their encourager. I'm going to be their cheerleader. I'm going to step up to the plate and make a difference. I'll never forget this family that was one of the closest families of ours in Camden at the church, Hillside Baptist Church there. And this family had a son. His name was Philip. Philip could do all sorts of magic tricks. Philip could entertain you. He was quick on the draw. Boy, he had one-liners. He'd just keep you in stitches, make you laugh, all those things that I can't do and don't have the ability to do. This was a very close friend of ours and a very close family. And let me tell you, Philip got on drugs, in and out of rehab, dry for 8 years, got back involved in drugs and drinking, broke in his parents' house, stole money, stole his dad's watch, left, went all over town in Camden. The family called me and said, "Preacher, can you come over here and help us find Philip? We can't find him." Found him down by our Walmart in Camden, Arkansas, the Walmart right there on the bypass, and he had gotten in trouble because he was standing out front, and as people would talk to him or try to mess with him, he'd spit on everybody. And Philip ended up getting back in trouble with the law and going back to prison, and now Philip has passed away. And this family was just hurting. They needed somebody to say to them, "Man, I'm in your corner. I'm behind you. I'm going to encourage you, and I'm going to be your fan, and I'm going to pray for you, and I'm going to pray for Philip." There's a story told about Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers took a trip to California. He went there, and while he was there, he wanted to see this child who had cerebral palsy. And so the child gets wind that Mr. Rogers is coming to see him. Well, as some of you know, in cases with special difficulties like that and challenges like that, the child became so nervous. The guy writing about the story is a guy named Tom Janode. And he said, this teenager with cerebral palsy became very nervous. In fact, as Mr. Rogers got ready to visit, he got mad at himself. He began hating himself and hitting himself, so much so that the mother had to take him out of the room where Mr. Rogers was to try to calm him down. Here in a few moments, the mother brings back in the teenage son, and they sit back down, and Mr. Rogers says, "I would like for you, son, to do something for me." And the son responded on his computer. And Mr. Rogers said, "Would you do something for me?" And the boy put back on the computer, "Yes." And so Mr. Rogers said, "I would like for you to pray for me. Would you start praying for me regularly?" Well, the boy thought, "I've been prayed for by everybody. I've been the object of everybody's prayers, but I've never been asked to pray for somebody." And so the boy said, "I don't know whether I can do it or not, but you know what? I'll try." And you know what that boy did, that teenager with cerebral palsy? He started praying for Mr. Rogers faithfully, and he never forgot him. He never talked about killing himself again. He started hitting himself less. And so this guy writing the article comes to Mr. Rogers and says, "Hey, Mr. Rogers, how did you know what to say to that teenager? How did you know to say that you needed to ask him to pray for you? Where did you get that?" And Mr. Rogers said, "Oh, no, Tom, I didn't ask him for prayers for him. I asked him for prayers for me. I asked him because I think anyone who has gone through the challenges like that must be very close to God. I asked him to pray for me because I needed his intercession." Folks, be a fan to someone. Be a cheerleader for someone. Whether it's a family member, somebody at work, someone that doesn't have anybody else, someone that seems like they're all alone and don't fit into the group very well. We have students who need a fan. We have single parents who need a fan, who need somebody to support them. We have widows in our church who need somebody to be their cheerleader. Find somebody and be a fan to someone. Do you remember where you were in 1987? I do. Getting married. December the 5th, 1987. But you know what? That wasn't the story here. The story here is told that in Dallas, Texas, they had a group of about 500 people that were standing behind a barricade, and they were fixing to witness a world record attempt. You know what it was? They were attempting to break the world record for grape catching. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, you say, well, 1987, they didn't have a lot to do. Well, maybe not. But it was a world record attempt. The guy's name was Paul Tavilla. He held the record for grape catching. He caught grapes in his mouth, and his world record was 660 feet from a 52-story skyscraper in Tokyo, Japan. Not Toyota, Japan. Tokyo, Japan. And he held the record, and here he is in downtown Dallas, and they've got all these people, and they're fixing to watch to see if he can break his own record. You know what he's fixing to do? He's fixing to have somebody drop a grape from 72 stories. Now, I don't know about you, but have you thought about seeing a grape coming down from 72 stories? 52 either. I don't know how you can see it. And if you did see it, I don't know how you could catch it. Well, Paul's there, and he's getting ready, and all of a sudden a hush falls over the crowd, and the man on the roof drops a grape. The grape plunges to the earth. Paul had his mouth wide open, but he missed it. Not only one grape, but the next one, they dropped another one. Paul missed it again. They dropped another one, splat on the sidewalk. He's down to his last grape. Are you with me on this? Are you suspenseful? Are you just gripping this? Are you ready for this? His last grape. So they send word up to the guy dropping the grapes up in the top of the 72nd story. He drops the grape. Well, you know what? As the grapes have been coming down one by one, the wind's starting to get a little bit gusty. And so as they drop the last grape, there's Paul. Can't you imagine how foolish that looks? You've seen enough? Okay. And all of a sudden, a wind gust about the 20th story, and it blows the grape over into the crowd and hits a spectator right below his right eye. You can imagine how that felt, right? And so Paul Tavilla, the world record grape catcher, with his mouth, waves to the crowd. There's kind of a courtesy clap, like, nice try, I'm sorry, I hate I wasted my time. And he gets in a limousine and drives off. But you know what? The story wasn't about Paul Tavilla at all. The story was about the spectator who got hit with a grape. So you know what? That night, all of these TV people go and they interview the guy that got hit. And you know what? As they're interviewing, they say, oh boy, he's got a big old shiner under his right eye where that grape hit. And it's all purple still. And boy, it must have stung a little bit. And so they're interviewing this spectator, and they said, hey, sir, are you all right? And he said, yes, I'm fine. And he said, hey, man, are you disappointed that you didn't get to see the record broken? And he said, no, I'm not disappointed. What bothered me was if I had just moved my head 3 inches and opened my mouth, I could be the new record holder. Which makes some sense, folks, for you and me, because I like his attitude. I don't know about you. Have you thought about it? His attitude was this: in the midst of a bad situation with a little shiner under his right eye, he saw unlimited possibilities for something good to happen. In the midst of the bad, look for God to do something great. Look for God to do something good. If you've lost a loved one to COVID, look for how God's going to bless you and bring good out of it for his glory. If you've had a family member that's sick or somebody that's fixing to have difficulty or has just a hard time in life, look, in the midst of the bad, look for something good to take place. Do you honestly believe Romans 8:28, or you just say, well, no, I believe the Bible? No, do you believe Romans 8:28? If you do, Romans 8:28 says, and in all things, God works for good to those who love him and are called according to his purpose. Church, guests, those of you watching by live streams, don't allow the regrets to be the final markers of your life. Don't allow things like this. Well, I wish I'd said this. Well, I wish I'd done this. Well, I wish I'd made that right. Well, I wish that I had had a chance to tell her, even though I've not been good to you, I still love you, and I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Don't allow our regrets to be the final markers of our life. Be swift to love, church. Hurry to be kind. Take time to make someone else feel special. Freely give hugs and kisses. Say I love you more often. Thank God for Resurrection Sunday. Make a commitment this Easter to be kinder and more gentle people. Would you bow your heads? If we're going to do any one of those three things, we've got to have God's help, don't we? We've got to have God just rain down his heart and his love into us. We've got to be quick to love and quick to forgive. We've got to give people another chance. God gives us chances. We've got to forgive people. You don't forgive people because they deserve it. You forgive people because God forgave you. If you have a decision and you need to make that decision public, I'm going to give you a chance. As all heads are bowed, eyes are closed, now's your time. If God has spoken to your heart, or if you need to make your decision public, now's the time to come and do that. Anyone? While Christians are praying? got a decision I want to let all of you know about. Bailey, this is Bailey Mitchell, the youngest child of John and Mandy. And Bailey came a few weeks ago before their vacation, and she said, Brother Willis, I have asked Jesus into my heart, and I know that he lives in my heart, and I want to be baptized and make my decision public. You know, the thing that's happened in the time of COVID is God's been working in children's hearts. It's awesome. It's exciting to see. It's not something the church can do or we do. It's what God's been doing. And so I told Bailey when she walked up here, she made that long walk by herself. And she said, I'm a little nervous. And I said, I'll hold you. But I said, can I tell your church family that you've been saved and that Jesus lives in your heart? And she said, yes. And I said, will he ever leave your heart? No, he won't. Will you always do the right thing? No, I won't do that. But we can be forgiven. Isn't that great? So proud of you, Bailey. Sweet girl. Hey, if you would agree with us as a church family that we would receive Bailey into our church family by baptism, by being obedient. We don't believe baptism saves. We believe that it's in obedience, and it's a symbol of what Bailey did in her heart. If you would agree to receive her by baptism, would you say amen? Amen. All right. That means they're all with you. Hey, you know what that means? They're all your cheerleaders. Isn't that great? And one of these days, you'll be a cheerleader, sweet girl, probably. So anyway, we will set a time to do that. And we're so proud of you, Bailey. Miss Jan's going to get some information from you right there. You've got it there already? Okay, she already got it ready for you. All right? So, hey, just rejoice with Bailey, and you can find her back there with her family, and we just all put our masks on, and then people may come up and tell you they want to pray for you, and they're proud of you, okay? All right, sweetie, you can take off back with Mom and Dad back there, all right? Thank you, sweet girl. All right, y'all, please pray for the Billy Joe Tinnell family. If you didn't hear, Billy Joe Tinnell, who was the city manager here for years, passed away from a massive stroke, and she is going to have her visitation. Well, the family's going to have her visitation Monday. I believe it's from 5 to 7. 5 to 8 at Rest Haven, and then her funeral service is going to be at 11 o'clock Tuesday at Rest Haven, all right? And so there's not children. There are some nephews, and the family is hurting. But when she had her massive stroke, she had to be taken to the hospital and didn't recover from it. So Billy Joe did a lot for our church. When people would tell me when I first got here in 08, well, you're going to have to go talk to Billy Joe, I'd decide to do something else. I just didn't want to go talk to Billy Joe because everybody told me she's a tough one now. And so I just decided there was another way to do it. So anyway, all right, happy Easter to all of you. Take time to, if you feel more comfortable putting your mask on, do that and visit with each other. Hey, I'd like to mention David and Shirley are here. Did y'all notice that? David and Shirley Rivera. Right there with Stephanie and Johnny. Stephanie, their daughter, and Johnny are there. So David and Shirley, welcome back. I'll have to make sure I cross my T's and dot my I's now. All right? Shirley, make sure I do that. All right, you're dismissed. Thank you so much. Have a great Easter. Love you all.